Yeah, so Franklin, we're doing a presentation on Thursday, which is in 2 days, at the BCGS. So it's a BC Geophysical Society. And we're doing Kibitza. And so that is a, what is it, porphyry?
It's a porphyry copper nickel.
Yeah. Porphyry copper. So what is, okay, porphyry. How do you distinguish like porphyry, and then are you stick on the mineral or like the base metals that are in it? Okay.
So I think it's convention, yeah.
Copper nickel?
Nickel, yeah. Oh, I think it's nickel copper because it's more nickel than copper.
Is that good then or bad?
And PG, platinum group elements.
More copper is better or more nickel is better?
But depends.
Both of them are good.
If it's high, if it's rich, it's good.
Okay.
It's actually low grade, but that's why porphyry is like volume, so they don't mine for like high grades, but they mine for like
a lot.
Yeah, huge volumes of rocks.
Huh. Yeah, so we are doing a synthetic study over that. So Don built up surfaces from geologic model and
it started from the seismic horizons that they picked.
Yeah.
Started from there and the surface. Yeah.
Cool. So here actually is the link to the presentation. I'll share a version of that if you want to follow along.
Sounds good.
Cool. And then I will just share my screen. Cool. So we have 45 minutes, basically? 40 minutes?
I think so, 40 you said, yeah.
Okay.
So it would be 15, 10, 10, 5, correct?
Cool. Okay.
I mean, we can shift that around.
That sounds good right then.
So I saw you added your slides.
Yes. So do you guys want to just like go through it, or do you want to chat through slides?
I think let's chat and talk. Yeah.
Okay.
Try to go through it.
All right. Cool. So I will introduce. So we're presenting on SimPEG, and so this is an open source software project that we've been working on at UBC and building out collaborations elsewhere. And so this is really targeted at building software for research. So we want to be able to explore and experiment and rapidly prototype ideas. So that's the space we're targeting here with this. And so I want to start by putting this a bit into perspective here. And this is a slide that Doug gave. We held a workshop in Banff this past summer. At BERS, and so his talk is actually online. I can post the link later. I'll put that maybe in the SimPEG docs actually. And so the point he's making here is that, okay, we've got this axis called time, and anything diverging away from this axis is effort. And so, you know, when we look at a multidisciplinary problem, something like Kibitza here, where we want to be characterizing a mineral deposit, but no one physical property is completely diagnostic. You need to be able to integrate potential fields, potentially seismic, geologic data, electromagnetics to actually characterize this and spot a location where you want to mine. And in order to do that, we also need access to algorithms and inversion techniques. And so both of these things are diverging away from this axis with time, is because we are dealing with these large multidisciplinary projects. But also when you look at something like airborne time domain electromagnetics, I mean, that problem has been solved, but it is a non-trivial problem to solve. And if you're looking at somebody who wants to actually go and do research and explore an airborne time domain problem over a complex model, they need to be able to span this gap. You need to be able to jump back and forth between these things. And clearly, as these diverge, that becomes much more challenging. And so what we're trying to do is basically make this jump smoother. In the sense that we want to be able to bring these things together and have tools that enable you to play with your ideas and experiment with ideas. And also be able to do this with multiple data sets. So be able to integrate your geologic data, physics, and then naturally we want all of this to be reproducible and transparent. These are research projects, and that is important for what we're doing and for sustaining these ideas. So this is what we're trying to do with SimPEG. So I want to start by showing you the SimPEG layout and how we've broken down inverse problems. So we start up here with our inputs. We have our data and uncertainty estimates. We know something about our governing equations, what is the physics governing the situation, and we have some prior knowledge and assumptions. So these might be things like, we have a concept of what is geologically reasonable, but they also might be sort of stronger constraints in that if you have drilling information and have borehole logs or things like that, those are pieces of data that we can bring in. And so this is the box that we're going to focus on. This is actually then going through the implementation. And I'm going to walk through each of these pieces, but the main thing to highlight here is we've got green and we have red. And so the green part here is the forward simulation. So that is how we go through and actually are going to produce simulated data, given a model. And then the red are all of the pieces that we use to actually construct an inversion and go through and find a single model that fits our data. And then obviously this process is iterative. We often start with a blind inversion and then want to go back and incorporate one. So the way we've chosen to implement this is in Python, and there's a few reasons for that. There is a big open source community around Python, so there's a lot of resources there. It's also nice because it is an object-oriented language, which means in general, it promotes being explicit rather than implicit, which is important because that promotes sort of the writing of, what's the word I'm looking for? Yeah, it promotes, so the modular side of things, but also declarative, but I don't want to use that word because that
even implicit, explicit,
it's
too jargony.
Yeah, implicit, because we're doing this with my tongue. Anyways, it promotes clarity in the code. I'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Next one. Next one. And so in this case, it helps promote organization, making building blocks rather than building ginormous scripts, so that you can then go and piece these things together. So let's start by looking at the forward simulation side of things. So that's composed of two pieces here. And so we've broken this into the survey, which contains all of the geometry. Where are your sources? What types of sources are they? And where are your receivers and what are their types? So if we have a DC survey, we want to look at where are our electrodes, and then where are our potential electrodes. And then in this case, we have the physics, which is then the DC resistivity equations. So we know how to go about and actually simulate that. We'll set up our Gibbs sigma graph system. And so with those two things together, we can then go ahead and simulate data. And the way we actually go about and solve these equations is using a finite volume. So this is pretty standard in the UBC group. We break up the world into cubes or maybe cylinders or curvy meshes. And place our variables on cell centers for physical properties. So we think of them as space filling. We put fluxes through faces and fields on edges. And so the way you would work with this in SimPEG is you can go ahead and you define your mesh. And so we define here just the geometry. This is a 2D mesh. We specify the sizes in the X direction and the Y direction. But then once you've constructed that, we actually get all of the operators along with it because they're all just based on the geometry. So once you've constructed a mesh, we now have all of the pieces to build up a set of equations. So we can look at that for the DC resistivity equation. So we have our div sigma grad system. We discretize that. And if we look at the code, and this is what I meant by implicit versus explicit, is here we are really looking at an explicit, the math looks like the code. That's what I mean to say. The math looks like the code. So here when we look at our A matrix, we have G transpose NE sigma G at master. We have our right-hand side, and then we go ahead and solve that. That gives us our flux of data. And from that, we can compute data. So now that we have data, we can go into the inverse problem. And so we're going to start by looking here. The data misfit and the regularization. So again, like most of the inversions that you're probably familiar with, we are looking at a Tikhonov style inversion where we have a data misfit, a regularization, which could be smoothness, or we could go ahead and play with compact norms, and Don will show you an example of that maybe. Are you showing an example?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Not explicitly.
Okay.
Implicitly.
Implicitly. Wonderful. And then we combine those with the trade-off parameter. And so then this is the function that we're going to go ahead and minimize. And so we do. So when we state our inverse problem, it is just minimizing this objective function. We want to make sure we fit our data, so that's our stalking criteria, and then there's perhaps some bounds that you want to apply. And so you can go ahead and we can do like a beta cooling schedule, any of those types of tricks that you're perhaps familiar with. So that's, I wonder if I need another slide here. That's next.
Yeah, so
You're 10 minutes, so yeah.
I blew through that.
Exactly.
I think I want.
probably like showing what we have, like.
Oh yeah.
It's like we used to have like that one slide, like letting a whole bunch of contributors and a whole bunch of repository we had. Just a few pictures.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, the web. Oh no, you wanted to maybe keep the website for the end. Is that the idea?
I think so, but I think like it's probably worth showing
twice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Reinforcement.
And then that's a good transition. Okay, so that's the framework, but like what we actually do, we got all these capabilities and show that with the context that Kevin said.
Yeah.
Public.
Yeah. And then so this just showing, like I can show I'll go and find that.
Yeah, so, yeah, there should be one slide. Okay.
Yeah.
Pictures of people.
Are there other? I'll polish this off a little more. The way I introduce this.
Yeah, I think I would note for as students, as grad students, you know, I think that was one of Doug's comments is that we want to speed up that process to take us to the new inventive thought process in order to be able to get there. We cannot spend 4 years every time to go back, so we need to like fast track students back to research time. So
Yeah, I think you can even emphasize when you're talking about the framework, because once you got that, like that actually boosts up the process of researchers, like getting the problem and actually solving it. That process can be pretty fast because like you have each pieces, and then by solving each pieces, actually at one point you can actually solve the full problem. So yeah, I think that kind of like that.
Yeah.
I like the point too that in order to contribute, you don't need to be an expert in all of these. You can be an expert in only one of those those modules, and still be an important contributor and advanced science.
Yeah.
Because you don't need to learn everything to be able to get to a problem.
Problem's a little bit more inviting because like that's where we can invite people.
Yeah.
We cannot any contributors that you see that they cannot solve all the problems. There are multiple scale of problems that we could present. algorithmic issues, but there also could be practical problems we actually don't know.
Yeah.
We need some help. So I think we may a little bit more
the modularized, modularized aspect of it.
Yes. But that's kind of cool that if you implement that and then like pass the test, but like that can be used for every people.
Yeah.
Which like kind of help every people. So that's kind of fun.
Yeah.
And when I'm solving, like when I'm showing slide 10, I probably emphasize like, because that's what the picture they don't usually see.
Right.
Because they see the data.
Yeah.
But the like here, like anyway you're solving it, like in all of your black box algorithm, they solve it.
Yeah.
But like what you're seeing is just a few points of the data.
Yeah.
But like if you have a specific questions like, oh, what are the current flows?
Yeah.
Or like these tools are kind of designed that you can see every pieces that you've computed.
Yeah, and that's, I might reword some of these, it's because we do want hooks throughout, in the sense of that, is that you actually want to be able to explore the physics and not just use it as a black box simulation.
Right. Yeah, because like that's actually where we make the difference between kind of commercial code and what we're doing.
Yeah.
Maybe you could even just show a transit of data in addition to that section where you're actually seeing all of the currents. You can just see like a black box code, like this is kind of what you would see from that.
Good idea.
Yeah.
Because you already had it, so again,
You already have, just like I did slide 10.
Pick one profile line.
36, there's one there. Yeah.
Okay. Pick one. Yeah, that. It's,
Exactly. Yeah, it's a good idea.
That just drives that idea home.
Yeah, you usually see the top figure, but you can also show you the the physics if you want to.
It's hard to conceptualize actually what's going on underground from
Yeah.
just the data.
That's a great point. Okay, and then we'll show
Briefly
have-
website, the resources.
Yeah, we have quite a few methods. So we've got DC, EM, potential fields. There's a little bit of work that's being done on seismic. And what's cool about building in this modular way is that it really does enable people to bring their specific expertise to the table. You don't have to know all of the pieces to be able to add something of value to this. And that's also true of technical and user experience as well, is that both of those perspectives are what drives this forward. So you don't necessarily have to be contributing to the code to be contributing to its advancement. And we'll touch briefly at the end on how to actually get involved as well. So now that I've given you an overview, we want some evidence that it actually works. And so for that, I will turn things over to an example with Tommy.
No, I think it's done.
Or with Dom. With Dom.
Yeah, we thought we would drive these points home with a fairly complicated, but at the same time neat case study. There's a Kivitsa porphyry deposit in Finland. And Lindsay briefly touched it, but I would like to reinforce one idea is that there has been a recent push into modeling the Earth, so trying to take all the pieces of information to be able to understand geology. And to be able to do that, then it would make sense that we have one-stop shop all type of code where you can model all of it in one spot. And ideally, you would be able to just set up your Earth laboratory and just swap your forward modeler, right? And just like go from one physical property to the other fairly seamlessly, and be able to experiment that way. So that's what we'll try to demonstrate with this one. So slide 17 is just a brief overview of what it is. We just started looking into this. We got this about 2 months ago, so we're by no means experts in the Kivitsa deposit, but we will try to poke at it through different physical properties. So discovery was in the 70s. First quantum minerals had it for a long time, and they've been very generous to release all their data in the public domain. Just before they got they sold the property to Boliden in 2016, and they also let us use the data. So thanks to both of them. So it's a disseminated porphyry-style deposits. So grades are fairly low, but it's huge tonnage. The dark gray that we're seeing on the right side is the ultra-mafic intrusion, and then the light gray on top of it is a mafic gabbro. So both of them have intruded into like sequences of volcanics in green, and then sedimentary units shells in blue. I have to say that within the shell there's black shells with graphite, so some conductor in there for sure. And yeah, maybe switch to next slides. So data that we put our hands on is pretty broad. There's tons of borehole log with the density, susceptibility, conductivity. We have a ground gravity survey, ground mag with pretty high resolution, 10-meter resolution grid up. Time domain, two surveys, time domain, airborne. And obviously they both also have magnetometers on board. There's about 5 lines of DCIP and MT. And I think another 10 or 15 lines of SP, right, that are not on these.
Yeah, I haven't opened that up, the data pad. I'm pretty sure it's the same line with the DCIP.
But I thought we had more lines over the deposit, right? There was like a bunch of shorter
Oh,
lines.
I think that was also DCIP.
DCIP.
So they're like a large scale, but there's a small scale DCIP survey.
The MT has been inverted in 2016. There's an abstract by Kwong and Coin Al, which is a neat paper. Look at it. The most work that has been done, can you slide 19? The most work that has been done already is on the 2D and 3D seismic. So Emilia Kobisto, the University of Helsinki, processed and analyzed those seismic lines with borehole and came up with a series of surfaces in the GoCat project. And she's been very generous. She gave us her GoCat project. So that was definitely a strong starting point for us to start looking into it. And so 20, we've simplified but expanded the geological model so we can start testing. And here, this is just we identified the primary contacts between the volcanics, intrusion, and sedimentary units, and then build a 3D 50-meter cell size resolution model with these, populated with density, susceptibility, conductivity, chargeability, and then we'll see how SimPEG is gonna how we'll be able to investigate this model with SimPEG. So 21. I will start off with the potential fields because it's part of my research topic. So as you can see, having this nice geological model, be able to have each unit can assign some physical properties to it. And now we're going to start with density. That sounds very long. So density.
Sorry, did you want?
No, that's good. That's good. So with SimPEG, we can easily forward model, obviously, the gravity field and the gravity gradient geometry fields. What we noticed already is that while we don't have all the units properly mapped, it's probably much more complicated than we've done. But by adjusting the density, we're getting close to the peak values and the overall shape of the intrusion. That's what we noticed, is that we can map the intrusion very, very well. But then the big question here is to ask is that how deep can we really resolve the density anomaly? It's always an ambiguous question in potential fields with the depth resolution. So we will invert the GZ data, which is shown in slide 23. With SimPEG, we made some fancy norms to be able to get things that are blocky more compact. And this is what we're showing you here, is slices through the inverted simulated gravity data. And the take-home message here is that we can probably hope to see the bottom boundary of the intrusion if it's a finite volume. I mean, if it's a finite anomaly. Turns out that we're getting the depth pretty well, the shape pretty well too of the intrusion. So when we get back to the real data set, we probably have good confidence that we can map out this unit. Now we'll switch rapidly to susceptibility. Susceptibility is pretty complicated, and that's the main reason why I got interested in the deposit. You notice there's right in the center of the intrusion, there's a deep negative. And that's we're going to look at into this now. So we assign some susceptibility. We're getting the important parts here. The peridotite, which is susceptible, it's a big arc that goes around, right? And then the intrusion itself seems to be relatively susceptible. We're missing one unit, the big red. There's a big red on the left hand here. That's an hydrothermal intrusion, which we won't focus right now, but it's definitely interesting for us. Keep going. So yeah, the remnants has been studied by another researcher, a master's thesis, specifically on the donite intrusion in the center. So let's see if we can simulate anything with SimPEG. That's the neat thing, is that fairly rapidly we can design a forward modeler. Here, design a little app that we can vary the susceptibility, inclination, declination within the donite to be able to test if those numbers that were published make any sense, right? And we'll make this app available online for you to be able to experiment. And now we would like to solve the inverse problem. So clearly we're not really doing a great job with the negative. It's much broader, it's bigger, so it's slightly deeper. And so the answer to this is that we should probably just invert it to see if we can make a better model. If we invert it to slide 27, this is ongoing research. So it's not in the main framework at this point. It's still on my research branch. But it's the idea of can we invert the magnetization vector with the compact bodies in a more robust way. And what is hinting us is that what Emilia Covisto identified as deeper donite units is most likely true, most likely real, because, well, it has been confirmed by drilling, but the inversion seems to confirm this, is that the mag anomaly is actually much deeper than we were thinking. And that's it for PFs. That's long, eh?
That's okay.
I think that's fine. Well, I think you should take a bit more time to introduce new geology.
Yeah, I guess the beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hope that the gravity one, I think you can still put the gravity gradiometry, probably in the app, but for presentation, probably just focusing
on the GZ.
GZ, I think that's better. I was interested looking at the figures, but it's sort of distracting.
Yeah.
There's a lot on that slide.
Yeah,
Totally.
So probably focusing on that, that's better. And I kind of hope,
Smooth them out.
yeah, if you can, can you provide a table of physical properties and units and high-low? Because that's actually a simplify things, and what are, okay, we're using geophysics, and what do we see here? And then connected that, probably focusing on that table and then show the images, probably better over seeing this unit.
I could swap instead of the bar graphs and just put the table instead. Slide 21, right?
Yeah, and I can work on probably using different color map, basically same color map that you provided. Can you go 20? Slide 20. Yeah, we have that color, so I think we probably, when we're showing the geological pictures, yeah, because it's kind of I was having hard time. Even myself, I was having hard time. What is what?
Totally.
And probably like at least using same colors for a
Good point.
geological model.
Good point.
Yeah, I can work on it. So.
And I've seen that in your slide, you've labeled, you managed to label, you did the work of labeling your.
Oh yeah,
colors.
that's pretty simple. So I could work on it. So I can change those figures, but use the same colors
That's great.
in the geological map.
That's great.
So that's probably like helpful.
I also think it's really helpful to use, like, to your point, a different color bar on the model versus data.
Yes.
And that would be achieved with this.
Yes, instead of all gel. Yeah, totally.
Yeah. Cool.
I like it.
We can chat about this more afterwards too. I think, like, in the intro, like when I'm introducing, it would be helpful to just perhaps give a quick overview of things that you guys are going to talk about. And just like maybe when I'm talking about the framework, like pointing to pieces that you're going to bring up. So if there's, we can chat about it at the end, but I would appreciate that.
Can you go up like sorry the first slide that
First slide, yeah.
there right.
It could move that one.
No, I think that's fine. That was fine. Can you go 17? Right. Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Do you want to try and cut words a little bit? This is something we can do afterwards. But
Do
there
it.
are cut words. There's a lot of words on these
The
slides.
slides.
Yeah.
Then we're moving on to 18. I'm just thinking about where do we need to pull up that physical properties? Because probably 18 is good. Because you're showing the data right in the 18. I think this is where we could actually like pull up the physical property table, and then like, okay, what's the kind of key units that we're going to focus on for each problem, each physics.
You could put it here, actually.
Yeah.
That might be nice, because this is then, because that would be potentially an odd jump between here and then seismic. But if you go from here, where we're now talking about, like, this is what we're going to simulate, and then maybe just turn actually this into a table.
Yeah. Can you go back to 18? Still, like, you probably want to emphasize, like, just each, probably, like, important units. I think for gravity, maybe, like, this guy is the biggest one, right? Like, here. Not sure, that's a map. Is that the OV?
Yes.
So, like, the high density OV, just comment 1 unit for each, like, not sure what is that. Do you know what is like mostly high? What is the second one? Is that still older?
It's the peridotite. But it's fairly in reach, but
yeah, peridotite. So like older peridotite, I think it's mostly like this carbonaceous fluid.
Yeah, that's right.
Sediments. So I think like as a first order sort of like important like anomalies.
No problem. Yeah, absolutely.
And then like probably that's a good like kind of prelude to actually introduce the property to people. So they've seen the pictures. And, those are important units in a large scale.
What about side by side though? It's not a bad idea. If the table is here, then it kind of make it easier to talk about the physical properties, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you probably, like, if you wanted to, you could delete this.
Yeah.
This text, and then like this
Can
be
make
a
it smaller and move it around.
And then we could actually have the same table show up on here again, just before we start the simulation.
Yeah.
Or you can just bump that slide right there just before all the surveys. You just take slide 20 and bump it up, or 18.
I liked Dom's flow here, actually, because this is sort of what gives you
The start.
the surfaces, and then we have that.
That's true.
And then this, there's a table here that ties, I think that ties it all.
Yeah.
Right. What was slide 21? Okay,
Yeah, that one could almost be.
I think you can still use it, but probably like substitute that with the table, and then like can probably like put out. Okay, this unit will be interesting unit that we see with the.
Okay, so which one first then? Are we on the table on 18 or no? Wait.
I'm okay with like here, as long as you put it in like at least in 20, I'm good. But probably like if you can put like the table in both places. Here I'm okay. Like if you,
Okay.
whether you put it or not, that's fine.
Another thing you could do that's sort of close is even just like, basically point out here, you
Yeah,
know,
that's
row
what-
is high.
Go high and oh, that's this unit. That's this.
Yeah, it's just like arrows.
Just annotations and
Yeah, whatever you think.
Yeah, actually, you know what? We could use just the map, the surface map to point out the units and then reiterate in the table afterwards.
yeah.
That would be good.
Sounds good.
Yeah, I'll make it just like a little note here. Cool. Okay. So then here, then we'll hand off to Sagi. So how do you want to do that transition? Just
It was like a kind of what I hoped was like sort of question based and like just like trying to use these tools to answer that.
Mhm.
I am like not 100% sure what the question is, but it seems like I think Dom's remnant example that was great because like okay like here's like you have big blue negative blues and what is that? Like, how do you explain that? You can we can think about it as a remnant and show the simulated images that you can match that with. But I thought that was great. That's sort of what I want. But the slide 28, still not sure what is right there because so it's a quote from I'm not sure who it was, but I think it was 1997. There was a report, and they actually introduced what challenges they have. So that I'm focusing on the first one. The percentage of the surfite is too low, so it's a disseminated surfite, and so it's not very like a high concentration. It doesn't generate really high physical property contrast. So then what do we do? So I think it seems like they did inductive surveys, like large loop EM surveys or small loop EM surveys, but it wasn't very effective.
Yep.
But it's not something what I'm not sure. It's not quite like a kind of matching with our stories because if I look at our model. There's very high connectivity contrast.
You get a lot of response.
Yeah, so I wasn't sure that actually really worthwhile to pull that. But I'm not sure. So I was like was curious what you guys are opinion. Anyway, what obtained data is airborne VTEM and SkyTEM, and there's a TCIP. So we can focus on airborne VTEM data and TC data. Okay.
Do you want to chat about this now or afterwards?
Afterward, like I'm going to go through what I have, and then we could sort of like do a puzzle.
That's good.
So now we need to build a connectivity model. So, but like here, Dom was trying to show like a really large scale, but we're going to focus on probably a little bit more. Sorry. Okay, I'm going to just go through that. Like I need to build a connectivity model. We need to assign the connectivity. So what do we do? So we have a VTEM data so that's the data at 198 microsecond. So it's a full domain. So it's about 10 kilometer by 10 kilometer-ish. And then if you look at the line at the black line, so that looks like that. So there's some highs and lows. It means there's some resistive material and conductive materials. Okay, so like you see, those are a whole bunch of conductors, and that they're like matching well with this carbonaceous phyllite. So as a first order, we can see there's some sediment, very conductive. Our mineralization, we're not 100% sure that's really conductive, but that's location is about here-ish, like 9,000 meters. But there are probably some conductive materials, I guess. We're not sure. And we could form models. So we pick, we can see the time decay curves. at that two locations. So this location is where you got like this sediment, conductive sediments. So if you look at the data, it's very high and then slowly decaying response, which is expected. If you look at the 9,000 meter where you got this mineralization, it's not that big compared to the sediments, but like still you see some bump, but smaller. So it's probably like deeper. So you can guess some of the ideas what's happening here. And another thing, so we know this like carbonaceous phyllites and those sediment units are very conductive. But we have smaller scale data, which is DC. So this is the DCIP line at this 12, at this line, which just transact mineralization. And that's how it looks like. So that's apparent resistivity. So that location is about like 6,000, 6,500 meter. So that's where you got this sediment chunk, which is very conductive, and you see this like conductive pan lag. So that's kind of makes sense. But the like here we have another pan lag where we got this mineralization. So this mineralization might also be quite conductive, but like embedded in that. So you can get some idea by just looking at the data, and it looks good. So we can assign this sediment layer. It's quite conductive, and also mineralization might be pretty conductive, and other units are quite resistant. So that's what we can do. So we assign the conductivity, and that's actually the conductivity model that I generated. So most of the mafic rock is about 1,000 millimeter, and conductive sediments and also mineralization about 100 meter. Okay. So and then this is cross section at this line, and that's the DC line that I've shown. So you see this conductive sediments like makes a pan lag at the very near surface, and also this guy makes this responses or anomalies in this VC pseudo section.
Is it simulated, Sergey?
No, this is filthy.
That's real.
Okay, so we assigned the conductivity model. I think, but we're interested like, okay, we have two EM method where, which is airborne EM data and LDC. So we're going to start with airborne EM data. And so let's do a floor modeling. So here's my simple model. So I want to see BTEM data is enough to see like this conductive mineralized zone. So one case what we could do 1D Earth, like which is sort of like a typical tool they interpret this data. So I assign the conductivity like 1,000 millimeter resistivity, and then assign 10 millimeter resistivity, and the thickness of the layer is 100 meter, and then it's embedded at 200 meter depth. And the black line is that response, which is high and it's slowly decaying. It kind of makes sense. But like let's, but like the Earth is 3D, and also mineralization is not on 1D, but sort of 3D. Let's make it as a cylinder. So it's a block, but actually like it's like a cylinder. And so the length of the cylinder is 300 meters. So diameter is 300 meters, and the thickness is 100 meters. The same resistivity. So we like do the formalling, but I use it's sort of like a practical waveform they have used in the example. And this is much smaller. Compared to the layer case, it's much smaller. So it's sort of expected, but kind of surprising. And but like we could see what's, so this is the voltage that we measure, but what generates it, it's an electrical field flowing in the Earth. So if we plot a certain time where snapshot of the electrical field at this plane, so it's an amplitude of electric field, so electric field is rotating, but like got a conductor so that stays there for a while. But if you look at the other case where you got the cylinder, so your footprint is pretty different. So probably like just using 1D code, it may be okay in a qualitative sense, but quantitatively, like the recovery value of your conductivity maybe not like right. Anyway, so that's what we could do. But probably it's good enough to see those two guys. And so now we're moving on. So we're moving on to DCIP, and that's a resistivity section, the synthetic resistivity section. And then they did the Titan system used a Poldite survey. So I'm basically using the same survey geometry, but using the synthetic model to do the simulation. So here we got the current electrodes here. Our reference electrodes far away, And those greens are like the potential electrodes that we're measuring the data. But when we're injecting the currents, like the current flows in everywhere in the Earth. So we're at about here, and then that actually excites this conductor, and also another conductor here. And then actually pretty sensitive to the boundaries of this geological units, where you got the conductivity contrast. And but like what we're measuring is something like that. So the black line is the voltage. So we got some positive voltages and negative voltages, and it decays from like as you further away from your current electrode, that decays. And we can convert that to an apparent resistivity, which is kind of easier to interpret. So in this location, you got high resistivity, like your background is like pretty resistive. But as you go further, it goes down. So it's getting conductive because of this guy, and increase. So you see the anomalies from this mineralized zone at that source location. So it's kind of nice. But we have another source location. Let's say our source location is here, where we got the sediments, and well, similar voltages. But you see this like a sharp increase in the apparent resistivity, and then decays because of this conductive guys. And then we're actually injecting the currents at that conductive unit, so very close to the sources. You got really small apparent resistivity, and we're still exciting this guy as well. But we may not see that much on our data location. Okay. But if you have a data location here, I'm pretty sure we're going to see that. We have another location, similar things, but we can see actually the difference, like anomalies from these conductors as well, which is nice. And then, like, if you sum that up, we can build this kind of a pseudo section where you see this pan lag, and then there's conductive anomalies from this mirror voltage line. Okay, and then that's quite not exactly similar, but like it actually captures what's happening in the field data. So we've got this pan lag from this near surface conductor, which is a sediment, and also conductive response from this mirror voltage line. It's nice. If you want, you can invert that and recover like conductivity model. So it's a 2D inversion, 2.5D inversion. So you can recover this guy and that guy. So their survey geometry was okay to recover these two conductors if there was existing. And so that's what you can do. I probably need like a summary slide. It's kind of long, I guess.
Yeah, but your simulations, you know, like when you're doing all the different pole positions, this is no content. You know, it's like interesting to look at, but
yeah. Yeah. So that's kind of what I was prepared. I hope I kind of a little bit more integrated questions, like connected to DOM. So I wasn't sure what could be my sort of first slide. Yeah. So I kind of want to pose like questions, and then just like answering that. Yeah.
Well, I can set you up if we do cam scale versus deposit scale. Right? So I could introduce my part as being cam scale geophysics, and then you could start at the.
Yeah. So I'm not sure. What I'm not sure is like so first doing VTEM is better, or like probably just do DC first, and then like do VTEM. Because like a VTEM is still, it's more like a large scale. But my question is a very specific question, like can you see that? Can you see those conductive responses? So like I'm kind of dealing with the small scale questions.
Yeah, I just inserted a slide here just to give you potentially a transition. And like if all you want to do is like plug these next, that would be okay. But I think to your point of doing something like going to now deposit scale.
Yeah, I think that's.
And just like enough to sort of give a bit of a pause and give you a chance to wrap up. So
yeah, I'll put 2 bullet points of summary for PFs, and then say now we're going to switch to local scale. Instead of 27, there's too much text, so I'll just simplify this one and then shift some of the conclusions to the other stuff.
Yeah.
So like I'm not sure the quote is helpful. Like it just doesn't like help.
I like my take on it is right now it's not. If like later on if we actually go through and invert data and like can really debunk it, then absolutely. But right now it's like
no, I wasn't quite finding any connection that I can use.
What I would do though, because I think like you just sort of jumped right into like doing things. Here is, and I know you were using this to give you a bit of context, but I would just pose a question. Like start with a question. Can we see it?
Right.
And then here, okay, now to answer that question, I'm going to go through and from the VTEM data and from the synthetic that we have, we're going to build up a conductivity model and then simulate and see if we can see it. And then you go through, because then those steps are very clearly motivated. Because there's a lot of stuff coming at you.
Right.
So if you don't have that question clear in your head, it's hard to it's hard to bring in all the information you're getting.
So I think I probably just need to focus on mineralization. Okay, so this is the sweet spot that we're interested in.
Yeah.
We're gonna kind of narrow down our interest to this region where we got this mineralization, and we're using EM, so we assume that's conductive. That has some contrast.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I see. That's better. Yeah, I was like hesitating because that quote is not like quite like that, because like they said, oh, there's no conductivity, like there's not that much conductivity contrast.
But then you need connectivity for the DC, right? That was the outcome of the DC. Is that correct?
Pardon?
You need the outcome of the DC experiment was that you need the conductor there, right?
So I think that's kind of fine, but like probably like we don't need to mention that code.
No, I agree with Lindsay. We should keep that one in our pocket for later on if something big comes out of that. That's it. We can use it, but.
Yeah, because I think it's a cool quote, but we don't have enough to use it.
And it's long. The whole presentation is long enough.
Yeah, so I might just show a model, like a geological model, and I'm going to focus on this mineralization. So we've got this BCGS line, where we've got some data here. There's so.
Yeah, and then the question is can we see mineralization?
Right. I think that's probably better, and we're sort of like showing that.
And then I have a couple other comments. I guess I just changed slide numbers. Oh yeah, do you think it's possible to white out these guys?
He worked hard on this.
If it's annoying, like actually.
Oh yeah, I could do that.
Yeah.
That is fine. Just because it's like really, it is quite distracting, and if you're far away, you won't necessarily see. But like that,
there's the hack.
That totally works.
Yeah, that totally works.
Yeah. So.
I was trying to figure it out because it's you need some convex.
Concave hall.
Concave hall is it's not easy, so anyway, I could do it.
It's hard.
Well, you could provide a just like a whiteout and do the convex. Like provide the 3 points, basically just say whiteout this, and then you provide it.
Oh, that's a good point. I'm not sure what's the smart way.
There is smart people that worked on those problems already, and we just need to dig out the solution. I looked into it, but didn't have enough time. Yeah,
for this though, if you would like to use triangles.
Straight up slap.
Totally fine.
That they called all good.
No worries.
Yeah. And then, I think highlighting the fact that these are field data is important to Dom's question. Because I lost track of that. And then on this guy, I think you should add, because the cylinder, like conceptually, people aren't going to see that right away, and I certainly didn't. Because you're simulating both of these on the cell mesh, right?
Yeah.
So then, if we actually just stick this guy on there. Just to give context that like you are simulating on a cylindrical mesh.
Yeah.
Or something like that.
I'll put as just a cylinder.
Yeah, you can put
I
a
don't
puck
want
right there.
Yeah, like I'll just put a cylinder below, so this is not a box, but it's
Sure. Or like all I was going to do is crop out all of the things and give you just this. So
Yeah.
I'll maybe put that on the side, and if you want to do that, you sure can.
Yeah.
Or if not, feel free to delete it.
Yeah, I didn't want to like what was that? Pull out that I'm using the cylindrical mesh.
Sure, but enough to say, like something like this, if we are simulating on a cylinder, because otherwise, like to me, this is a block and a half space. Why is it a cylinder? So. Yeah, or if you have a plan view.
Yeah,
That works.
Pretty meshes.
This is a cool slide.
Yeah,
Um,
it's interesting.
and so here again, like I think if to do this transition, if you can pose a question again and say, okay, so what's causing the difference in the data? How do we understand that? And one way to figure that out is like, let's look at the electric fields, and then go into it. It's because otherwise it's not necessarily clear like the
Right.
motivation for doing that.
That's true.
Yeah, and then here you need a little bit of a transition.
Yeah, it's a bit of a challenge.
So you could actually even start like basically duplicating the slide and only showing the resistivity section. And just like, so do a quick summary on like what did we get from V10, we can hope to see it. But we also know that a DC survey was conducted.
Yeah, so I think, probably need a one slide between 35 and 36, like sort of summary of V10, what we see.
Yeah.
Probably show like the field data again, and we may see that.
Yeah.
So I think that probably actually from the organization.
Yeah.
So we could have a small summary of V10 data.
Yeah, especially if you can bring it back to this. It's like, okay, so we have evidence that we can get something.
Yeah, so I might just bring the other slide back.
It's a good result, Zach. How did you manage to? Because the first ones were a little bit.
Oh yeah, I had to use the depth grading. So.
I know you don't get out. For some reason, you can get away with it without it.
Yeah, it's like it took a while, and so I like steps out. I think I did like a couple of iterations. Like I used the depth grading, got some research, then I reinverted it.
Oh, okay.
So I think that for that model starting was pretty important.
Either
Because like the big conductor actually killing, so that's a huge misfit. Then there's a huge misfit, so it like those always fit that part.
So you reloop it back on the
Right,
top.
like so once you got the ballpark of that, you could kind of starting model of that, and that actually start to fit the other parts. So
Nice.
that was interesting. I've done that kind of types of problem before.
Learning process.
Yeah, it's a big conductor on just right on the surface, so it generates a huge response.
Yeah.
Was topography an issue here? Pretty flat.
Yeah, well, there's a little bit of topography,
Yeah.
but it wasn't that.
It's not where things are happening anyway. Right? That's nice.
This is nice.
Yeah. those
So for
slides
this
are
one, I would spend some time like explaining what you achieved here, because you went through this pretty quick.
good. Yeah. And you can hypothesize why you think it's not conductive enough.
Right. Basically, there's a bigger conductor.
Yeah, deeper, bigger.
In the field data than genetics.
So yeah, there. I think that on that slide 42, we could comment quite a few things.
Yeah.
It's more conductive, I guess. Yeah. For instance, probably more conductive materials are on that, so.
Yeah.
It's not actually one pan lag, but if you look at the very large offset, there's a really big blue. Not there, the other one.
This guy?
Yeah. there's one parallax, but like there's a really big conductive response that could be either that conductive layer comment or
yeah, there's big blocks of shells inside the pyroxene, so you can have like conductors in there. It's a big mess. So probably not one big block, one big olivine block that we modeled.
Yeah, and then I think like I guess I like these slides.
Yeah.
It's just walking through like this is what's happening and how it manifests in our data. It's really nice.
You may also see the little eliminated mineralization there. It's neat.
Cool.
And then Craig will go through his stuff. He has lots of some material, but
So we'll give, okay, so you'll do a bit of a
wrap
summary.
up. Yeah.
Okay,
Oh,
so
yeah.
we'll add like a couple pictures to this. Because maybe what would be kind of nice is just to show like basically an image for each.
Yeah.
So show PF or grav mag,
Kind
and then or
yeah, I think so. I think now I got much clearer idea like where to put, so I could put a graph.
Okay, and then Craig has.
And it's kind of nice because we kind of cover gravity. It's a similar anomaly, so it kind of brings more confidence to his results because people are going to see, okay, already saw a synthetic, and we can get a bloody thing in the whole space. So that's good for him.
Yeah.
And his result looks a lot like this, right? Like an intrusion.
So one of the things we might ask is just to trim words a little bit. This is a really dense slide.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. But these
He's going to be listening to the movie, eh, Greg?
I don't think he's here right now.
No, but he wanted to watch it afterwards.
Yeah.
Notes to Craig.
Yeah.
Cut down the words.
Okay. And then what I was maybe thinking just for summary is actually whatever we do for
like
this.
okay.
Whatever we do for this slide of just like what do we have, I'll just bring that up again. Because I think we're already pretty tight on time. We're going to be tight on time.
Yeah.
So I don't want to switch and like bring up the website and all that sort of stuff. It's going to take too long. If people are curious and want to chat, we can do that.
Totally.
I might try and trim a few things to give you guys a little more time.
I want to say I had the feeling that you can get away with 6 instead of 5 and 6. Just like 5 could probably be.
Yeah, that's fair.
Like 6 tells you everything. Like it's modularized. It's Python.
Yeah, that's fair. And then I'll trim words on this as well, and that'll help me move a little faster and be on point with that. One thing I was going to potentially do is add just like, and this is totally fake for this example, but add an image of slide bars just to sort of highlight the interactive computing side of things, because I really liked how you did that.
Oh,
That's
that's
huge for them.
give you.
Yeah, that would be awesome. Yeah, because I think that's a really important point, is that like we also want to be able to interactively work with the code. So not only can we go
build
through and
tools.
discretize it, we can play with it in an intuitive way pretty rapidly.
Absolutely. So we need to wrap up with the notebooks. How many notebooks are you going to have, Sam?
I have 2 notebooks, one for BC and the other for VTEM.
Cool.
I'm not sure. I think it's only working at like VTEM, no problem. VTEM is also there. It's only working at certain branches. Like so.
You know that.
Yeah, it's not that.
What kinds of things need to be pulled together for that to happen?
There's like few things like a waveform, VTEM waveform function.
Yeah.
To be,
Because if like, are those isolated changes, or have you made a whole bunch of other changes on that branch?
oh, I think I can make isolated changes.
Okay.
Just pulling the SimPEG data and isolated changes. That's
That would be awesome.
So put like stuff in that.
Yeah, because like if you can get those changes, pull requests to dev, we can get that in ASAP.
Okay. Yeah. So, right. I need a few things. I need to upload some data. Well, I think I need to upload the data. I guess just right. Just
Sure.
Yeah, I'll give you a package soon.
Okay,
too.
that sounds good.
It's like, I think it's gonna be max like 20 megs, so it's not too big of a download.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah. It's just one model.
So we want to. Okay.
Like we can do a cloud download, right, on Azure? You can do a
that's
poll.
I think so.
We could
We'll try it out.
Or leave it, can you leave it there? Can you occupy
You can't leave it there right
this
now.
space? No?
Yeah, I think it.
Oh yeah, that could be an issue, right? It's
Why load it to memory? If you download, load it to memory, and then it's ruined.
Yeah, I'll
Definitely try.
test that out. We might not the current download might not work for that.
Oh yeah, because downloading to disk. Yeah.
But I believe that we can. There's other ways. So we can do a curl statement. So like our download might not work, but I think there's another way to download it.
Okay.
So
I never thought of that.
Oh, so our download is like there's a problem?
Well, if you be moving to disk, right? And if Azure you can't use disk space, then
you might be able to.
Yeah.
We'll try it out
Yeah.
and see.
I don't see why not.
Yeah.
Even if it's temporary and it flushes at the end of the session,
Yeah.
it's good.
Yeah. And I'll give you guys like a really short update. I know we're running over. So with where computation is right now, what I've run into is like the Sphinx gallery is a very specific formatting for Python scripts. And so you can't just use ND-convert to build a gallery.
Oh no.
Which is fine. So we're not necessarily going to use the gallery for this.
Okay.
So what I was planning on doing, and I've already implemented like half of this, is basically we have the notebooks, and then all I will do is like basically just walk through all of those folders and ND convert them just to RST. So you get the page built right away.
Okay.
And then similar to how we build the case histories page on GeoSci, like there's just
Yeah, I see.
our own custom gallery.
Right.
We can do that. And so, and eventually, like we can arrange it all so it has tooltips or hovers or whatever. But I
It's
think
not gonna use straight up.
that's a trajectory through at least that is lower overhead for us. Because the Sphinx gallery, like it works for the SimPEG examples, that's fine, but tailoring Python scripts in that way is just like it's not an intuitive way to write them, so I don't really want to try and put us on that trajectory when it's just annoying.
Sounds good.
So
Just representation. Yeah.
yeah,
Good.
sounds good.
yeah,
Keep it simple.
yeah.
So Dom, can you help a little bit like getting the book on data? Because you have it, and then so Lindsay need an example for her paper, our paper, and or just thinking about like a small chunk of book on data where probably just one view first, and like providing a one sounding example, like a sounding inversion of both result and the SkyTem data. Do you have the data? I don't
I
know.
have to double check. I'm not sure if I still have it on this, but
Okay.
I'll check.
It seems like it's in your research folder. As a
Okay.
separate file.
Well, you know more than I do.
I'm sharing all of his research folder.
I dumped everything outside. There you go. If I die, you have everything. It's actually a good idea. You never know, man. Yeah, I'll look. So you would like to have one sounding per?
No, I think so. As a first shot, like if I have a one sounding for both SkyTem and the resolve, okay? Probably like if I can grab like a little small region.
You want the data?
Yeah,
Oh,
just
yeah.
one.
I'll give you the data.
Yeah.
No problem. I'll give you the whole thing.
Right.
You want the whole thing or just a piece?
Uh,
Because it's pretty variable, you know, like There's a lot of stuff going on.
Oh, okay.
I'll
No,
give you
just-
everything.
Just the data then.
Yeah, just keep the data.
Do they have a topography or?
Yeah, there's a big bank, right? This is
Oh.
the river serpentining.
Oh,
And it's a,
okay, I see. Is it like a 1D is enough or like you need?
I think if you're far from the bank, it'll be okay for one day. Yeah.
Or like do you need the or 3D sample or what's?
So I think there's a few things that we could do, and this is worth like thinking about and talking about. Because this is for the EM paper. Because we got back reviews finally.
Wow.
And two of the reviewers said, hey, it would be great if you have a field example, which is totally fair. Because everything that's in there right now is synthetics. So I think like a 1D example is actually probably enough. But if we actually had a 3D that we could point to, that would be, like that would have a lot of impact, I think, is people realizing you can in fact do a 3D versions.
Okay.
We don't necessarily,
I think but running the 3D is not a problem. Just this takes time and there's no technical issues. Probably just a right size of the main type, not.
Yeah.
Small region.
I think for the paper, just showing the 1D is probably enough.
Okay. So that's like a, yeah, it's like kind of get, because like finishing the 3D example maybe more time.
Yeah.
Probably not. I don't know, like running it probably like in this week, fine.
Yeah.
But it's always like sample
Tuning in,
issues,
yeah.
like tuning in, like it's a field example, so waveforms and stuff. I could probably dump like a
Dequan,
decon is the best person.
he went through it all, right? So he would be able to tell you about the normalization and everything.
Yeah.
But still, it'll take some
Yeah,
time.
yeah.
But,
Yeah, it is a fairly 3D example, but it's not really 1D. There's a river. The river is like a thin, shallow conductor, and then also a resistor, and then
You did the resolve inversion in 1D, right?
the stitch. Yeah.
Stitch it in 1D. What was the size of the domain?
I don't remember. No. We'll have to look at it. I remember. It's a few kilometers for sure.
Kilometers.
Yeah. I would guess like an 8 by 8 maybe.
So that's fairly big.
Yeah.
For us to run.
Yeah. Is there any other data sets offhand that you think?
Or 1D.
Yeah.
I'll think about it.
Because like it would be very nice to be able to show like both a time domain and a frequency domain. 1D.
Sarah's data set was very
Yeah,
1D, right?
yeah.
Sorry, the
Aspen.
Aspen. Yeah, Aspen was very 1D.
I just don't know if we actually can like open the data.
Oh yeah, because it's Bupanong is.
I feel it. Well, I don't know offhand, but like
Actually-
we could talk to Tim and
Yeah.
probably, or like if it's a single sounding, it's probably not a big deal.
Yeah.
Whereas I feel like that there's a lot more official channels to try and go through with.
And they have both time domain and frequency for that one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I would look, just look at the Dequan's inversion, and then
Yeah.
pick a spot that it's not 3D. I have the feeling if you're on top of the bank, you'll be able to just do a sounding.
Yeah.
It'll be all right.
Yeah.
Instead of being over the river.
Yeah, well, once we decide, like, if you're doing the, oh.
We were just talking about you.
Talking about Bupanong.
You have like a few minutes where you're busy.
Okay, yeah, sure. Okay, yeah, I was waiting for Sarah.
So can we, like, in Bupanong data, can we get a small chunk? Like, you probably understand all the normalizations and waveforms that get all this information.
Yes.
Can you get that? Like,
Yeah.
okay.
And is there Are there areas that you think are like, sufficiently 1D that we could describe with a 1D inversion, or you? would
So
you
what was
say-
the final goal of this thing, or just,
This is for the EM, the
Paper.
SimPEG EM paper.
okay,
They asked for a field example, and so we thought it would be nice to show something that has both time and frequency.
okay.
Um,
So
and
looking for
one
something
example.
more 1D or
Yeah, ideally,
really?
but it doesn't have to be. I mean, we could work with 3D if need be.
Okay. Well, the Pokemon is very 1D.
Is it 1D? Yeah.
It's
Except for the
really
river.
flat.
Okay.
It's really flat. Yeah.
Okay.
There's some issues in data, but I don't think that matters. We can. You're looking for scatter, right? So the main data.
yeah.
You're looking for fixed data.
Both like a resolve and extract.
No problem.
And I just use the higher.
Okay.
Ignore those.
Only one part of the portion, or like?
Yeah, if you have a, like an interesting, if you have a small chunk
Okay.
of data, like that where they have
Overlap.
the overlap.
But most things, okay.
Yeah, resolve.
I can send you like the data. You can do it probably.
Right. But but can I get that so it's normalization information? It's and
Yeah.
waveform.
So I can give you something that's kind of ready to use, ready to run data.
That would be great.
That would be.
So everything is figured out. It's,
That
Or
would
the machine.
And it's Tim Mundy is the main contact person on that.
yes.
Yeah.
And
He was.
they own the data, right? Who owns the data?
Maybe Tim.
Okay.
Maybe Tim. It's really old.
Okay. And do you know if it's like is it public domain yet or no? It's still.
I don't think so. It's not.
Well, you asked permission and he did let you publish on them, right?
I can publish result, but I don't know if I can publish the data itself.
Okay.
It's another question.
I think that's probably fine.
Yeah, it should be okay.
Yeah.
Like
Their CRs
can
are all they're
provide
not
the
complete.
Yeah.
They're like
may not open data.
Yeah.
That's
But we can also ask, like if we're just
Yeah.
converting a single sounding and ask like, can
Yeah.
we open this sounding? That might be okay.
I mean, if the final goal is not like the particular geological problem there, you can just remove the coordinates from
Yeah,
there,
it's true.
and you just see it's like real data from somewhere.
Somewhere.
Right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, if we know who to be in contact with, we can.
Yeah, you can ask him.
Yeah.
It's simple. I don't think he's gonna reject that.
Yeah. Cool. Thanks. John.
Okay, no worries.
Glad you dropped by.
Everything works.
Oh, that's makes it much easier.
Anything else you guys want to go over? So that's enough for today.
I'm good.
Cool. Do you guys want to meet again tomorrow and run through once more?
Yes,
Give you a little more polish.
we need some
Probably a good idea.
clarifications.
Okay.
It's all like a make geological, like a color bars.
That's great.
Stuff. And I'll probably just replace some of your figures with that.
Perfect.
Okay.
And then I'll wrap up the notebooks.
Cool.
Some files too. Oh yeah.
Sounds good.
So do you want to? Who's testing the Azure? If you can run the
I
notebooks.
can
on that?
do that.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Yeah, then that's enough. Otherwise, I'll have to ship stuff around.
Yeah, we'll figure out a way to get it downloaded, and then I'll try and get computation deploying in a reasonable way. It's close, but it's not quite there with the examples yet.
Okay. Okay.
Cool. See you down.
Yeah. Yes.
Hey, Frank, is there anything else you wanted to bring up?
Hey, I guess the only thing I thought about moving to the presentation is it would be kind of interesting to tie some of the case studies back into SimPEG a little bit, and I think that'd be like not a very big deal. Just like I don't know, I think someone at some point said using the same geophysical survey for different inversions or something. I forget exactly what it was, but I think just like saying that that's like this using the same object in SimPEG or something might be nice. I don't know. Sorry, that's kind of a broad, sweeping thing.
No, I appreciate that because I
But-
think that agreed. Just having like a couple points throughout for both of us. Like I think if I tie in a few things that point to like what Dom and Soggy are going to say, and if they point back, that might help tie it together a little more.
Yeah, and I don't think it would be any like major change at all. It's just kind of like briefly mentioning little things that SimPEG helped with. Because I think if if I like came into this talk after you gave your bit, Lindsay,
Yep.
then I wouldn't have even realized that it was a SimPEG talk. I would have just thought it was a really interesting case study with a bunch of different methods.
Right. Right. Yeah. What do you think about actually maybe even adding little icons? I guess that doesn't really make sense.
I mean, I don't know. Coming from a like a enjoying coding point of view, I think it would be really interesting. So I think the one thing you said was having like sliders on some figures, even if it's just like a totally toy thing that's not real. I think that would be kind of cool, just to take it back to be like, oh, this is actually more than just a figure from a paper.
Right.
And then even like having little snippets of code or something, even if it's like meaningless code, but just kind of to give an idea of being like, okay, this figure came from like running this method on this object, and then this next figure here, you use that same object, but just did like a different line of something.
That's a good call. I really actually like, I'm looking at slide 15 here. So I like the pf dot grab those. And actually maybe if we just honestly change the font.
Oh, I see.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, there we go.
And just like a few things perhaps like that.
Yeah, and yeah, I agree. I think that just really tiny changes would make a big difference in turning it more into a SimPEG talk than
That's fair.
studies.
It's a code.
Yeah, that's cool. Okay. So then even, I wonder actually even if with titles, it's sort of as we go into, so Dom's done the introduction as of 19.
Yeah, I think they're probably like that.
Yeah, and if the title is actually just like simpeg.pf dot.
Mm-hmm. Can we just leave the potential field simulation and
Maybe put it in the corner?
yeah, put it in the corner.
Okay.
It's not very explicit, like
Sure, but just like something to,
yeah, show. Yeah, exactly. Something like that.
yeah. Now that Dom's gone, I'm just editing these slides. That's great. I guess maybe actually. Okay, I really like that. Just something to keep a common thread.
Yeah. And I'm not sure if this makes sense, but there are a few of the little synthetic, like on slide 30, 33, and 34, like really tiny little synthetic things like that.
Yep.
I think it would also be kind of neat to be like, oh, okay, well, this is like some toy model, but the actual physics or the actual problem. And then like on the next slide, it's like, oh, okay, well, now we have our actual data, but we're still using this same physics or problem from that little toy example. I don't know if that's true.
Yeah, no, it is.
But yeah, if so, like, yeah.
Yeah, it's a good point. Yeah, we need to actually like show we're capturing the actual field example in a very simple manner.
Yeah. Yeah, I really like that. So I also on this one, do you want to add the vectors? Those should work.
It's not like your vector is going like this.
Oh, right.
So it's not quite like a kind of
that's right,
dipole
'cause the
magnetic
mag
field.
is-
So
that's fair.
yeah.
Great.
I'll probably like put a kind of circle. Like it's rotating.
Okay, sure.
That's probably okay.
Yeah, but I like actually like with slide 34. I mean, you're showing the physics, but maybe it also just showed like, simpeg.condomania.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So I could just put like the same. Can we put the same? What was that?
This guy.
Like a name tag.
Yeah.
SimPEG en.tdm, SimPEG en.static.
Yeah.
DC.
Cool. Okay. Yeah, I'll go through and add those to each,
Right.
and that will hopefully help ground things a bit.
Right. Okay. Sounds.
Yeah, thanks, Franklin. That was very helpful.
Yeah, sure. And that was really my only thought. Other than that, it was interesting. Cool. Thanks.
Well, thanks for joining.
Yep. Talk to you guys soon.
All right, take care.
All right. Bye.